Godzilla stumps Iowa as J-Fred follows the Democrats to the caucus. Let's join him now. Live from Iowa, here's John Fredericks.
Well, Iowa, Simpson Community College, Bernie Sanders speaking right now as we follow our candidates around. Curtis Ellis with me.
And we're going to give Medicare for all. And there's one thing I want to tell you. It's not the way they tell you it is. Bloomberg is a small donor. He's only 5'3".
John Fredericks, your oracle of the deplorables, Godzilla of the Truth in America, here on the Job Creators Bernie Bus. Socialism takes, capitalism creates. We're right by the Bernie Bus here as he's speaking now. We'll give you an update on that. Bernie says,
I'll tell you, socialism creates too. It creates a big mess.
And he says, no kids in cages in a Bernie Sanders
No
administration.
kids in cages.
Curtis Ellis with
put them in cribs.
Also, Lane Parker is with us.
I'm going to put kids in their place. Get off my lawn.
Okay, let's see what Bernie's saying now. We're going to open the phone lines up too. Got some clips as well. 888-480-JOHN, 888-480-5646, 888-480-5646. Bernie's saying that he's going to decriminalize marijuana via executive order on day one.
I'm going to decriminalize marijuana on day one.
He also says on day one he's going to end the decriminalization of undocumented workers in the country.
I'm going to decriminalize the decriminalization of illegal workers because no worker is illegal because we are a workers' paradise.
He'll give 2 million people immediate status via executive order.
And 2 million people will immediately get status.
He says,
I don't know what the status is, but they'll get it.
He says new Green Deal jobs will create, his new Green Deal will create 20 million union jobs.
And I tell you, the unions are going to be green with envy when they see these 20 million new green jobs.
Something like that.
Or something like that.
All right. Very good, Bernie. Thanks for joining us today. Bernie Sanders got a little cameo there. We want to get, I got a couple other clips here I got to get to on this I don't know what you would call it, this fiasco.
And I want to hear those clips.
Tell me, Al, if we've got, I sent you 2 clips on Michael Moore, Al, back in the studio. Let me know if you have those.
My good friend Michael.
Blasting.
Michael Moore clips
now
require a bit of editing because of language, so you have to give me some time to.
Oh, because of language.
I wish, Michael, you would clean up your mouth.
Now you sound like Don Corleone, right? All right, let's open up for calls. 888-480-JOHN, 888-480-5646 here on the John Fredericks Show. And but the enthusiasm gap, guys, I want to talk about this a little bit. Yesterday, we went to a get-together for Biden.
Right.
And it was at a bar downtown in Iowa. It was at a gay bar.
Mm-hmm. Blazing Saddle. Let's give them a plug.
Blazing Saddle. Yeah, they were very nice, actually, downtown.
They were really nice.
Very nice.
They were very nice people
Yeah.
and very nice to us and accommodated everything. Blazing Saddles, downtown Des Moines. But this was an event for Biden supporters to get together.
Right.
Gay or straight, but it was at a gay bar. And it was Women for Biden or whatever. And it was
non-binaries for Biden, everything for Biden.
7 o'clock we got there. We're 6:45. The event was at 7. There was maybe 15 people there.
Yeah.
I mean, and there was no enthusiasm. And the organizer of the event, we even asked her leaving, we're like, wow, you guys, there's no enthusiasm for Biden. And she says, well, there's a lot of enthusiasm in Minnesota where I'm from. I'm like, well, you're doing an event in Iowa. Where's the excitement in Iowa? And she started arguing with us, and then she said, well, okay, there's not a lot of enthusiasm here. That's what she said.
She said, wait till I've had a couple of drinks.
That's right. She said, wait till they had a few drinks. I mean, you go to a Bernie event, this place is teeming with people.
Biden needs a little liquid enthusiasm, my friends. Make mine a double.
I think he's facing a real debacle on Monday night.
Well,
Curtis, a real, I don't think he might not finish in the top 3.
He never expected to. That they've been playing the expectations game, and now they're saying he's given up on New Hampshire, and he never really had much of a presence in Iowa. So,
well, he's got all these offices and money. So what are they going to do? Finish 4th in Iowa, 3rd in New Hampshire, and then reignite their campaign. That has never happened.
I know. That's
that
what
has never happened.
Well, there's two other realities, which is very often whoever wins Iowa does not go on to win the nomination. So Iowa does not always choose the winner. Ted Cruz won. Hillary Clinton, well, she did win Iowa, but Ted Cruz didn't become the nominee. So, yeah, they're going to try to say,
Huckabee didn't become the nominee. I mean, you've got people that won Iowa that didn't become the nominee.
Yeah.
Right? But,
yeah.
Tom Harkin won in one of the I forget who he's
his favorite son. He was a senator from
he won
Iowa.
That easy. But then you got a lot of people.
Who?
You got a lot of people that did win Iowa that became the nominee: Jimmy Carter, John Kerry, Hillary Clinton. So it is important. It just isn't the end-all, be-all.
But yeah, it's going to be awfully embarrassing when Biden, if he doesn't finish in the top 5, that could be the thing. If he comes in really low.
Can you imagine the anointed one? I mean, it would be very embarrassing.
Because at some point, I would think the press corps is going to get off of their we must defend the institutional Democratic Party at all costs and sort of join the bonfire of the establishment and say, look, this is where the energy is. This is where the surge is among the young people and the others. And let's start celebrating the implosion of Joe Biden, and he can't even. But we're getting ahead of ourselves here.
But you're onto something. They are. You've been hot today, by the way. They are going to celebrate the implosion of Joe Biden, and that's the point of our show today. Is the growing divide in the Democratic Party that can no longer be hidden by the mainstream media who have been covering it up.
That's right.
They can't do it anymore. Not since they changed the rules to accommodate Bloomberg.
Right.
Not since, and now they're talking about to re-entering. This was the other thing. They had a secret meeting that got leaked to somebody, Politico, yesterday. Secret meeting of DNC bigwigs trying to reintroduce the superdelegates.
Right.
And the second thing they want to do is at all costs hold Bernie under first ballot victory, because then the superdelegates come into play and he's done.
Exactly.
This is all out in the open now. So the Democratic Party splitting apart as we speak, and it's almost going to be like, who is going to go with Bernie on they're all getting screwed, and who is going to keep on the Biden train? So, to your point, Curtis, and what you just said was brilliant. If Biden implodes, what happens? The rift explodes.
The rift explodes. Comes out in the open.
It comes out in the open because all the people, Pete Buttigieg and Klobuchar, they're not, even Warren, not saying anything about it because they're still thinking, well, maybe Biden's going to win and I can be in his cabinet or be his VP. Soon as he tanks, it's over, right?
Right.
Then they don't have anything to gain by protecting the status quo.
Mm-hmm.
I agree. And plus, they'll be fighting over any of the Biden 4 or 5 supporters that'll be left.
Trying to grab that mantle.
Yeah.
You're going to see Senator Klobuchar try to present herself as the savior of the moderate wing of the party because she's Midwestern, she's a woman, so you've got the identity politics. She checks that box of vote for me because I'm a woman. And it's really interesting because Tlaib and AOC and Omar and all these other people who are really bought into the progressive agenda of identity politics, they're backing this old white guy, right? So their economics trumps the identity politics, social issues.
They're backing the old white guy.
So you're going to get the corporate wing trying to say identity trumps economics, right? So you're going to have Senator Klobuchar, who is going to be the tribune of Wall Street, and Pete Buttigieg, who is complete McKinsey globalist, McKinsey corporate consultant. That's what he is. I'm gay, choose me. Because I'm gay, therefore I'm cool, right? I mean, that's really what he's saying. He wants to be the gay Obama, first gay president, first gay nominee. But you look at his economics, you look under the hood, and you find corporatist, big business, Wall Street economics.
Yeah, he does not have the backbone to be a president right now. I mean, he just doesn't.
Here's a question, Elaine. Would Mayor Pete even be in this race and considered a contender if he was not gay?
I don't think so. And I don't know. I was kind of thinking, should I bring this up? Should I not bring this up? But think back. He's a mayor. I mean, that's his resume. He's a mayor of a very small city.
Half the size of Chesapeake, Virginia, where I live.
So let's think back to another mayor that we all know.
Rudy Giuliani?
No.
Bloomberg.
Al Smith.
Sarah Palin.
Sarah Palin.
She was mayor of her city. She became governor, and she was constantly ripped on for her lack of experience.
Wasika, something.
Yeah, I mean,
Wasika.
they actually erased the governor and focused on the fact that she had just been a mayor, if you remember how badly she was attacked. And now here's this guy, 37 years old, and Mackenzie Phillips, corporatists, everything like that. Yeah, would he be where he is if he wasn't sort of touting that social issue for himself and using that card?
Yeah. That's exactly right. And you listen to what he says is really interesting. If you listen to his speeches and his answers on the debate stage, it's all these glittering platitudes that say nothing.
No, he says nothing.
It's just like Obama. It sounds really nice, but if you examine it, it's not.
Bernie's speaking now the opposite of Pete Buttigieg. Right. Or I never say his name right, so I just call him Mayor Pete. It's just easier. Mayor Pete, nice guy, 100,000. That would be like running my mayor of Chesapeake for president. I don't even know his name. It's asinine. But here's what Bernie's in there saying now, that again the media never picks up, and it doesn't really come out of the debates. He says we have to do more than defeat Trump. We have to have the courage to take on banks.
Have to take on banks.
Wall Street, insurance companies, prescription drugs, fossil fuel industry, military industrial complex. Wait, stop! Don't make fun of him a second. Think about what he's saying, right?
Yeah, say it all again, and I won't do my impression.
He's going to take on banks, Wall Street, insurance companies, drug companies, fossil fuel industry, military industrial complex. Neocons. This is what he just said in there. He said we need a diplomacy, foreign policy, not bombs. He's going to get us out of these wars. And then he goes on to say, if the voter turnout is low on Monday, he says, I will lose. If it's high, he says, I will win. He asks his crowds to come out Monday. He said, I want the largest caucus turnout in history. If they come out, we win, and we change the course of America.
Amazing. I mean, that is a potent message. And for everyone who thinks that Donald Trump will have an easy path to victory if he's running against Bernie Sanders, think again. Because that's a message that will resonate in Michigan, resonate in Pennsylvania, resonate in Wisconsin. Pat Buchanan wrote a column a couple weeks ago, will Bernie Sanders steal the Trump march on ending endless wars?
Right? I mean,
I agree. I don't think it'll be an easy an easy win for him.
I mean, no. If you look back at Trump's win, I mean, Trump didn't say he was going to take on banks, but he never cozied up. Right? I mean, he never directly said he'd take. He also says he's going to take on everything big, right?
Right.
Big banks, big insurance, big drug, big fossil fuel, big military, big wars. He's going to take all that on. And
when Trump said the system is rigged, he was talking about all of those things. That's what people heard. Yeah, the system is rigged.
They knew something was wrong.
Yeah, the banks have rigged. I can't get a loan. The big oil companies are charging me too much for gas, et cetera, et cetera.
Drug companies are ripping me off. Insurance companies don't pay my claims.
Yep.
Right? And I have nobody to fight back. Trump comes along now. Bernie's trying to one-up Trump on some of these things. That's why what he just said is very important. And he also said, look, he's going to take on the military-industrial complex, which Trump has ignited bigger than ever.
Exactly. It's very, very interesting. It's will be an interesting debate and an interesting campaign, because I think what Bernie can do, they always talk about how in the primary, people run left, and then the candidate pivots and goes to the middle. In the general election. What Bernie's going to do is he's making the obligatory nod to the identity politics stuff. the black versus white, men versus women, gay versus straight, whatever. He's making the obligatory nod to the social issues in the primary, but in the general election, he's going to go back to his roots, which is pure populist economics. And that's what he's going to do. He's going to, because it was Hillary Clinton whose lame message was stronger together. And all she talked about was, men versus women. We're going to do this rainbow coalition of non-binaries and transgenders and, women and gays.
Bottom line is, Curtis, we're both saying the same thing. We mock Bernie as a nominee at our own risk. I mean,
that's right.
He is going to win most of the Democratic hard blue states.
Yep.
He's going to pick off one of the Trump states, at least Michigan. He's going to be competitive, but it's certainly going to be a debate about ideas.
That's right. Oh, Oracle of the deplorables. When Hillary Clinton delivered that speech about the basket of deplorables, Stephen K. Bannon says, now we got her. If she's going to stick to a campaign based on identity politics and not talk about economics and populist economics, we win. Now, Bernie Sanders, if he talks about economics, it's a dangerous game.
It gets tougher.
He gets tougher.
It gets tougher because, and he's going to try to out-Trump
right.
in some of these issues, especially as it relates to the financial industry, the drug industry. Look, you can't talk to anybody and look at them in a straight face and say, do you think big insurance companies in America are treating you fairly? No.
Right.
You think big drug companies in America are treating you fairly? No, they rip me off. Do you think big banks are treating you fairly? No, I can't get a loan.
Right.
This is what he's going to be talking to if indeed he's the nominee. But the Democrat, the establishment, petrified of this guy. Petrified him.
Right. Because he's a loose cannon. Elizabeth Warren, I believe, and I'm not the only one, Rick MacArthur, the publisher of Harper's Magazine, the solid liberal, left liberal magazine.
Intellectually liberal.
Intellectually liberal, been there forever. Rick MacArthur wrote the book, The Selling of NAFTA, The Selling of Free Trade, and he's a good populist economic liberal. He contended that Elizabeth Warren would, in the end, turn out to be the tribune of the corporatists. She was able to make peace with the Clinton wing of the party, and that she had sat down with Hillary Clinton, and they agreed, okay, let's push Beth Warren. She can talk this progressive economics, Lady Macbeth. But when push comes to shove, and once she finally gets in, she'll be able to make the deal with the big banks and everything else. And Bernie, no. He's politically unreliable. Yeah. You don't know where he's coming. He's an old Bolshevik.
Well, it's kind of like Trump. He's not. Trump keeps everybody. What was your article yesterday? Off balance.
Yeah, that's right. And Bernie is the outsider, the same way Trump was the outsider. Yeah. Bernie just caucused with the Democrats. He called himself a socialist, a democratic socialist.
He doesn't even like them.
He doesn't even like them. Trump, for most of his career in life, was a Democrat, and then he came in. There goes the Bernie bus now.
Yay.
Bernie on board. Bernie on board. I see the
Bernie.
little sign in the window. Bernie on board.
Let's go to clip 9. Here's Michael Moore yesterday.
Oh.
Absolutely skewering the DNC, Tom Perez, and Bloomberg. Let's go to cut 9. Al had to edit this because he said the F word a number of times. So we had to get this out. Al, thanks for keeping me out of FCC fine trouble.
He diffused the F-bombs.
A little bit. Clip 9, Michael Moore blasting the whole thing.
They are removing the rule to be on the debate stage where it says you have to have so many people donating to you. Otherwise, instead of 27 people on the stage, there'd be 227 people on the stage. So you had to have a certain number of Americans that would give you a buck. That's all the rule said. But they would to show that there's support. And that's how they determined who would be on that debate stage. Today, they removed that rule because Mike Bloomberg, the billionaire, the Republican mayor of New York City, they're backstage going, oh God, what's he going to say? They removed it so that he could be in the next debate. He doesn't have to show he has any support amongst the American people. He can just buy his way onto the debate stage. And I got to tell you what's so disgusting about this. I watched the debate in Iowa here 2 weeks ago. The all-white debate. And the fact that the DNC will not allow Cory Booker on that stage, will not allow Julian Castro on that stage, but they're going to allow Mike Bloomberg on the stage because he's got $1 billion.
Unbelievable. We have time, Al, for cut 10 there, the other half of Michael Moore. Al?
Of this, folks, this is why we lose. Even when we win, we lose. It doesn't work this way. And we have to say that this is wrong.
All right.
We have no people of color left on the debate stage.
He's starting to cry.
They didn't change the rules so that Cory Booker could stay on the stage or Julian Castro could stay on the stage. They made no provisions for that. But for the white billionaire, we can just dispense with the rules. And this is what all of us have had to deal with our whole lives. There's one set of rules for us, and there's one set of rules for the rich. We have one candidate who will not tolerate this, who will not put up with this, who will speak out against it, and he will fight for.
So this was Michael Moore yesterday getting very upset over this.
He was
rule
about to
changes.
cry.
I know, right? He was fired up, and then he got very melancholy over the whole thing.
His meds wore off.
Something of that nature. But I tell you what, Curtis, this is not going away.
No, not at all.
And
people are not going to go quietly in the night if the Democratic Party National Committee manages to steal this again.
And think about what Moore said, which I really hadn't thought of. He's like, okay, so we're going to change a rule to allow Bloomberg, but they didn't change a rule to allow Castro or Cory Booker, and when they didn't make the threshold, they both had to drop out of the race.
Right.
Along with Delaney and everybody else has dropped out because they couldn't get on the debate stage.
Right.
So they didn't change the rules for them, but they're going to change it for Bloomberg because he's got the money, even though they go around and saying that they're opposed to big money running their party, but all big money does is run their party.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
Then let's say they make the threshold of the polling, they're going to double that to 10%. Well, Steyer is not at 10%, but Steyer's met the donor threshold. So now what do they do with Steyer? They're going to have to change it for him too.
Well, he can buy some more
We'll
polls.
be right back. John Fredericks Radio Network going to the bottom of the hour. We got some Bernie Bros coming on a bus. Stay with us.
In New Orleans.
That's right.
Godzilla stumps Iowa as J. Fred follows the Democrats to the caucus. Let's join him now. Live from Iowa, here's John Fredericks.
Wait, I was like, no, over here.
Live from Iowa, John Fredericks. Good to have you. Indianola, where the Bernie bus just rolled out.
The Bernie bus.
And Curtis Ellis with us. I'm your Godzilla of the Truth in America.
Arr.
Your Oracle of the Deplorables. Trucking the Truth. Now we could say Bussin' the Truth.
Bussin' the truth.
On the bus. We'll be here.
We got a busload of truth.
Another hour and a half today. Take your calls. Elaine Parker with us, Job Creators Network, the Chief Communications Officer.
And Minister of Information.
Curtis Ellis, the Senior Advisor of America First Policies. And our roving reporter in the hall, Tony Angeliti. Tony, come
She's
get
amazing.
the microphone here. Now, actually, we got a better one for her.
Oh, we have a better one for her.
Give her that one. Yeah,
Here,
Tony.
take that one. It's small.
Tony, we got to, because you were in there, you were sending us updates, and we were using a lot of your stuff, Tony. We were using a lot of your stuff.
Excellent.
And especially...
Amazing stuff. Amazing.
Especially what we were impressed with was how you captured Bernie's agenda, that he was going to go against banks, big insurance, big drugs, big military complex, big finance, everything big. And Curtis and I commenting that's going to resonate with a whole group of people because that was Trump's message, but now Bernie's like one-upping it in a certain extent. What was the enthusiasm in there, Tony?
Well, I have to say, I was expecting a little bit more energy in the room. The room was
Wow.
full. It was warm, though. It was very warm. That definitely could have had an impact on it. But the reception was warm, I would say. They weren't, going crazy.
Really?
He went through his stump speech. It's also possible, if these are people that are very likely to vote, that they've heard this stump speech several times. I mean, this is Iowa, right? Like, the candidates come back to the same well a few times over to solidify the support. But it was not nearly the really strong reaction that I thought we were going to see.
Wasn't like the Trump rally, huh?
It was not the Trump rally, that's for sure.
So some enthusiasm, but not like off the charts.
No, they weren't. I mean, there were no standing ovations mid-speech. There was no, breakout round of applause that, sort of took over.
No interrupted by applause, right?
No, they listened. They were attentive, certainly. It was hard to gauge whether or not these folks are hardcore, definitely going to caucus with Bernie on Monday, or if they're there still trying to make up their mind. So it was certainly a...
Well, he did turn 300 people out on a Saturday, right? Which is pretty good.
He did.
That's a pretty good. Also, there was a lot of media there, right? Brett Baer was there.
Brett Baer was there. Yep, Fox News was there. There's an NBC station that I saw from Boston, which I thought was interesting. So he's getting some attention across the nation. But he I think a lot of people were probably there to hear how he was going to handle what happened last night, and the booing for Hillary Clinton. And he came out pretty early on in his speech and said that no matter who won, that he was going to support the candidate, and he encouraged everybody in the room to support the candidate, and that was definitely received well by the crowd.
They didn't boo that.
They did not boo. There was no booing today. I can report that.
No booing.
No.
Well, and but he didn't address the rules change, right?
He did not reference it really
For
at
the
all.
DMC.
No, there was he did not go there.
Why, Curtis?
He is very polite. He's very old school. And I think that there is, not to sound too, I'm not being facetious here, but remember, Bernie is an old-style Marxist. He's an old communist. And what is the hallmark of the Marxist-Leninist party? Party discipline. You always obey party discipline. Unfortunately, he's part of a party that doesn't share his ideology, but the party discipline is so ingrained in his character that he'll stick with, okay, I'll go with it. Remember at the Democratic National Convention in 2016, he sat there, he looked like a hostage while Hillary Clinton was giving her speech. He didn't look happy, but he was quiet. And
respectful.
And that's it. I mean, it's just amazing. He's afraid he's going to have the cage strapped to his head, and the rats are going to eat his face, because that's what the party leadership does to the people who don't fall in line when it's a communist party.
Taking that from 1984 George Orwell.
Right.
2 + 2 is 5.
Exactly.
Something like that. But yeah, look, that's probably a good explanation as any I've heard, Curtis.
I mean, to put it euphemistically, he's polite, he's nice.
He's always
you know,
polite.
Yeah,
that's the
he's
one
always
thing about
polite.
Bernie. He's always polite.
Maybe it's a generational thing.
It could also be that this is as close as it's being reported, and if there is somebody on the fence that isn't sure if which way they're going to go, he's not willing to risk upsetting them right now.
And that is true. There's Iowa nice. They don't like negative campaigning.
But then there's also you gotta be everybody's second choice, right? So if you alienate people and you don't get the 15%, you're out, right?
Right.
So he doesn't want to alienate, so he just figures he can deal with that Monday.
If Joe Biden doesn't get 15% in some precincts, maybe Bernie's the second choice.
Right. So he doesn't want to alienate anybody off there. All right, phone lines open, 888-480-JOHN, 888-480-5646. We're going to decide where we're going next if we are. Meantime, let's get to a quick word from our sponsors and the John Fredericks Radio Network on the road in Iowa with the Job Creators Network. Elaine Parker, Curtis Ellis, Tony Angelini will be all right back with your calls. Plus, you can text us 757-692-1710 live in Iowa. Stay with us.
Godzilla stumps Iowa as J-Fred follows the Democrats to the caucus. Let's join him now. Live from Iowa, here's John Fredericks.
again, Indianola just leaving the Bernie Sanders event. And so, look, the big Iowa Des Moines poll coming out tomorrow, right?
Oh,
This is the big one tonight.
I can't
It'll
wait.
be online tonight.
The last poll, right? The last poll before the caucus.
How accurate is that normally, Curtis, that last poll?
Oh, it is so
Tony's
accurate.
saying it's very accurate.
That's what
I
they're
mean,
saying.
no-
Yeah, I
no
saw the report
BS.
on it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's very accurate. Because I guess
Unlike
they-
what that person said to you last night, the Biden team leader
Oh,
said,
yes.
anybody who tells you they know what's going to happen in the caucuses is blowing smoke up your
rear end.
rear end.
Well, when you're losing, when you're slipping and losing,
That's
you
what
say,
you always say.
know, fake polls, right?
Right.
I mean, that's what you do when when the polls show you good. You're saying, boy, that's that's
It's
a
a
great
gold
polling
standard
company.
at best.
Gold standard.
Yeah.
That's a gold
Take
standard.
it to the bank.
Absolutely. No, take it to the bank. Exactly. But that'll come out tonight online, right, Curtis? And then it'll be in the
Yeah.
paper tomorrow. And
Yeah.
so we'll be able to talk about that on Monday.
We're having it FedEx to the Oracle of the deplorables. You're going to get it.
CNN
should
is
be.
putting aside a full hour to cover it.
They are.
Yeah, that's
Which
what I read.
hour? Depends on who's
Cover a
ahead.
poll.
Yeah, I guess it's that extensive.
So let's talk about the fake news media here. Elaine bringing the point up earlier that it was her view that the fake lying news media was covering for Bernie. I'm sorry, covering for Joe Biden during this whole thing, and that they want to see him be the nominee. Curtis, have you had the same sense?
Yeah, they're playing down Bernie a bit. They're as Elaine said, they're covering for Biden is that they're not really honestly showing how shallow the support for him is. And they keep covering his gaffes, and they keep let's be frank here, folks, and I don't want to get off on a tangent on this. For them to always say the allegations against the charges against Hunter Biden are a conspiracy theory, or they've never been proven, or they're debunked. That's just that's covering for him.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the fact of the matter is, they haven't been debunked because they've never been investigated, right? And everybody knows it's one of the truisms, and the journalists, even the mainstream the journalists used to report this. The scandal in Washington is not what's illegal; it's what's legal.
Right.
That's a great point.
That's what they always said. And everybody's that's how who are the great scandal mongers of Washington, the great investigative reporters, would always report on what's legal in Washington. The people whose kids got high-paying jobs, the people whose mistresses got high-paying jobs. Adam Clayton Powell was thrown out of Congress because his wife was on the payroll, lived in Bimini, and never worked, and she was pulling down $20,000 a year.
That was when he was a congressman from Harlem, right?
Right.
Back
right.
in the 70s, early 70s, late 60s.
Yeah.
Adam Clayton Powell. So let's talk. Let's shift gears here a second because the Bernie rally's over. Let's shift gears here a second and talk about what happened in Capitol Hill yesterday. And I want to start with Curtis. A lot of us were hoping a couple days ago the president would now be acquitted, or maybe acquitted on Monday. His State of the Union is Tuesday night. They moved the acquittal to Wednesday. I mean, and a lot of people now saying that McConnell got rolled by the Democrats, and that the Republicans that still don't really like Trump, this was like their final pissing in his eye, right? Even though they can't go over the top because if they vote for witnesses or anything else, they're going to get primaried and get beat. But isn't it curious they moved the final acquittal until after a State of the Union? Elaine?
Nothing surprises me nowadays. I mean, look, it's disappointing that the president isn't going to be able to go into the State of the Union with the acquittal and all of this past him so that he can lay out, a future, moving forward. And I think he'll still do it. And in his mind, he probably will think, I'm past this. But it's been disappointing.
Curtis?
I'm waiting to see if any of the Democrats in the House or in the Senate refuse to show up for State of the Union to hear a speech by a president who's been impeached and not yet acquitted. Last year they wore white to show that they were suffragettes or something, and I don't know, but they always come up with some kind of stunt. Is that going to be the
That's right.
stunt
All the
they
women
pull?
wore white,
Yeah.
except for Kirsten Simina, who wore a bright red dress from Arizona. Remember that? She wore a bright red dress from Arizona just
Right.
to be different.
Smart
Yeah.
lady. That's
Smart
the way to
lady.
stand out.
I mean, the
Exactly.
Democrat from Arizona, she's pretty funny. I remember that. She wore this bright red dress with beads and earrings and having lipstick and having fun. Everybody else is the suffragettes.
Curtis, let me ask you a question. Is it possible that the Democratic senators could not show up for the vote for acquittal in protest?
No, because they
I
want to go
think-
on record. as
yeah, I
voting.
think they have
they
to
want
be-
to go on record.
So
No
they
raise.
wouldn't do something like
No,
that?
they would raise money off that. I mean, everyone that every Democrat that votes for conviction is going to send a fundraising note out 8 seconds later via email looking for donations. Plus, they all want to make their 10-minute speech because they want to be, like Curtis said yesterday, part of history.
Right. That's
Right.
right. They do get 10 minutes platform.
Yeah, and I think there may be a requirement, right, constitutional requirement that since the Senate holds the trial,
Yeah,
they're
they
going to have to show up
It's
there
like
and cast a
if
ballot.
you're
It'd be like a juror.
If you're a juror in a trial and the final vote comes, you can't just tell the foreman you're going to the ball game.
Okay, so the bigger concern, and it's not even a concern, but the what you're saying is more probable in that
It's publicity stunt.
that
They just
the
don't show up.
Democrats would not show up to the State of the Union.
Yeah, they won't. Yeah, some.
I wonder
To
if
be
like
insulting.
Tlaib,
Well,
if
they didn't-
Tlaib won't show up or
A
AOC.
bunch of them didn't show up the first 2 years, did they?
Did they? Did any of them boycott it?
I don't remember. Remember, his first speech was not a State of the Union speech because he was not. There was no State of the Union because he had just been inaugurated.
Right.
So the first speech, I remember a bunch of people didn't go. A bunch of people didn't go to his inauguration, right?
Right.
They sat out that.
Yeah, yeah.
And a bunch of people wouldn't go to his State of the Union speech. I mean,
It's interesting that during the Clinton impeachment, there was a State of the Union address during the impeachment trial, and everybody showed up.
well, because he's the president of the United States.
Right.
Right? As they should show up.
But this guy's orange. So
Well, what is
doesn't
it, Tuesday night? I mean, as they should show up Tuesday night.
matter.
Yeah, imagine
they
if
should.
Nancy Pelosi decided not to show up to the State of the Union.
Well, she
'cause-
has to because she sits behind the.
right, her seat's right behind him.
Yeah, so she has to show up. And
Looked like she's sucking on a lemon.
why does she do that? Why can't she just sit there? Why does she have to make those facial expressions? Or is that her dentures or something? You know, when she does that, it reminds me of like when I sleep, I have to wear when I'm at home, I have to wear this device called a snore guard. Right, you put it in your mouth because otherwise my
Too
wife,
much information here.
my
Does
wife
your
will
wife
sleep
make you
with
wear
me.
that?
Yeah, I have to wear that. Or even like when she's out of town, the cat won't even sleep with me. Without
Oh, my God.
The cat leaves if I don't put it in.
Sammy the cat.
But it's
lady.
like when you have it in your mouth, you know, it's like you're moving your teeth around, like, you know, like got dentures or something. I think she needs to just, you know, like stabilize that,
Well, after the
stabilize the mouth movement.
after she
'Cause it's
retires
kinda
from Congress,
gross.
after she retires from Congress, she'll be doing Polydent commercials or something.
She'd be good at that
Yeah, not Relief Factor.
because she's had a bunch of facelifts, I think, hasn't she?
I don't want
Not
to
to
go
get
into
into
this. Yeah.
cosmetic surgery, but-
Botox, a lot of Botox there, folks.
Yeah, it's a lot of that going on. But she has to sit behind him, so there'll be no boycott there. And then, of
No
course,
boycott there.
Mike
That'd
Pence
be
has to
interesting.
sit by. I wonder how that dynamic is, right?
Oh.
Pence,
There's no way they
Pelosi.
say anything to each other.
Okay, you know.
Hello and goodbye, and the hour and a half in between, nothing.
How's your husband in San Francisco? How's he dealing with this whole China thing? Is his form of income drying up now that he can't like steal bajillions of dollars and make deals? Oh no, excuse me, that's Mitch McConnell's father-in-law. Sorry, I got all mixed up.
Yeah.
Can we say that on the air?
Well,
Probably
you just
not.
did.
Yeah, I'll delete that.
You just
delete
did.
that. I'll get taken down. We love Mitch McConnell.
Mm-hmm.
Curtis has finally got his phone call from Delta back, so he's going to have
Hello.
to take that off air. And we're going to go to the top of the news in a couple minutes. I got a few more clips to do, and we'll be talking about the other news of the day and giving you our Iowa wrap in the next hour as we decide where we're going next here on the John Fredericks Radio Network. Also, you can Call in. Tell us what you think. 888-480-JOHN. 888-480-5646. Maybe we'll make this a Bernie hour, Tony, and get Bernie bros to call us. Or maybe we can make it the Amy hour. Nobody's heard from Amy.
She's far away.
She's far away, right? Sioux City, I think. I don't know. How far is that from where we are?
At least 2 hours.
2 hours. And Mayor Pete's in a suburb someplace, isn't he?
Mayor Pete and Senator Klobuchar.
They're 2 hours away.
Sticking to the suburbs.
Right. They're way out in the suburbs. So maybe we'll get some calls here from the Bernie bros. Elaine, what do you think?
I think it'd be great. I enjoyed talking to the Yang Bangers yesterday.
Well, the Yang Bangers were pretty enthusiastic. Plus, we asked a couple Bernie people, I think, to come on the bus. They wouldn't do it. So it's a little bit different with the Bernie people.
Yeah, we talked. I mean, we talked to 3 or 4 people in line waiting to get into the event, and they were pretty open. There was one lady who was very suspicious about who we were and what we wanted, and she didn't want to talk to us at all. But we weren't confrontational. We were really friendly and just asking, what do you like about Bernie and why do you support him? And, do you think he's being treated fairly? I mean, they're good questions and people were listening to us. So we certainly weren't confrontational with anyone. Mm-hmm. But I think people are generally.
You held me back from being confrontational.
Yes,
I told Curtis he had to be nice.
Well, when we get back from top of the hour, Curtis and Elaine, we're going to talk about this in Des Moines. A small group, from Politico, a small group of Democratic National Committee members has privately begun gauging support for a plan to potentially weaken Bernie Sanders' presidential bid and head off a brokered convention in conversations on the sidelines of a DNC Executive Committee power meeting and of calls and texts in recent days. About 6 members have discussed the possibility of a policy reversal to ensure that the superdelegates can vote on the first ballot of the party's national convention. Changing the rules in the middle of the game to screw Bernie Sanders.
And they're no longer super delegates. Now they're called automatic delegates.
It's really unbelievable
It's
what
the
they're
same
doing.
thing.
Same
And
thing, yes.
Nobody
sounds better. They don't sound so
Nobody
super.
will pick this
Well,
up.
it doesn't bring up 2016 in the voters' minds.
We'll be right back. John Fredericks Radio Network. We're going to be talking about that, plus your calls.